Today we are going to talk about science communication, that is communication of science. Let's start with the definition of science. Science originates from a Latin word, scientia, which means special and systematic knowledge. And it allows only predictable and reliable outcome out of emphasizing a skill using proper method and technique that is based on observations and experiments. In other words, we can say that it is a systematic study defining the purpose, the method, and the inference that you draw from your study. That should be a systematic one. It can be of any topic. So we can divide science in broadly into three categories. The basic science, which is specific scientific knowledge and focuses on the study of the natural world. The second is the applied science or the engineering science, which is purely technical in nature and is applied to different aspects of life. And the third ones are the social sciences, which focuses on the behavior of the society or man as a social animal. And it is a scientific study, it is a systematic study of the behavior of man in the society. This science, what induces in a person what is called scientific temper. So basically, scientific temper is a way of thinking, a way of perceiving things, and this includes some attributes like questioning, observing the things, testing the observations on a hypothesis, and hypothesizing it, and analyzing what he has been observed and communicating the analysis to others. So this is basically an attitude which involves application of certain logics, discussions and arguments are analyzed, and the elements of fairness, equality, and democracy are built into it. All these things conduct in a coordinating way develops what we call scientific temper. So in the previous two slides, we discussed about science. So what we can conclude that science leads to scientific temper leads to curiosity, and curiosity leads to certain observations, and these observations produces thinking in one's mind, and this thinking process leads to assimilation or integration of various ideas which are applied, and that becomes applied science. It can be a reverse also. An application can also, a natural application of a concept can also lead to curiosity. Like take an example of the phenomena of gravity. The apple was falling right from when the earth exists. Newton was sitting idle. He just observed the application of that the apple comes towards the earth. So there was a curiosity that why it happens. And that curiosity led to, combined with his observation, led to thinking. And he summarized his thoughts and came to a conclusion that there is a force that pulls the apple downwards. And that force he called that force is a force of gravity. So in this manner, the concept of gravity came into picture. Let us come to another aspect of science, that is communication. So in communication, like I want to send a message to any of my friend or anybody who is the recipient and I am the sender, and I can send an information or a message meant for transfer to the recipient through a medium. Medium is also called the channel of communication. This is the process of communication, and when this is combined with the feedback of ideas of what is the message that I conveyed and the whether I was able to convey the message to what I wanted to convey, this is the feedback. And upon analysis of the feedback, I follow up the communication. So in communication, what are the essential things? The sender, the receiver, which are nothing but people or a group of people, are senders and receivers. The information or the message that is to be sent, the context of the communication, that is important, because according to the context, the properties of the sender and the receiver will be, and the medium of exchange, the channel the information to be transferred. So when this communication is applied to communication of scientific ideas, it is scientific communication or science communication. In society, we have broadly scientists who know science and other public who doesn't know science, but science is essential for everybody's living to improve the quality of life. Since science is essential for improving the quality of life, so there is a need of conveying science to the public. And the channel that is required for conveying this science to the public is science communication. So basically, science communicators are the link between the science or the scientists and the public, which is the end users. Why it is required? Like I said, since science is essential for improving the quality of life, and until and unless the end user realizes its importance, we will not be able to exploit the resources to the utmost capacity. So there is a need to transfer knowledge from the lab to the land. What we have studied in the lab, that is to be transferred to the public, to the end users, so that they can improve their way of living, their living strata also should be improved, and that will contribute to the growth of economy. Thus, scientists and engineers already communicate, and it has been observed that the engineers spend about 25% of the work week in writing. Writing can be of various forms, and the professional engineers found writing their most useful subject in the college, and recruiters claim that the engineers need more work on their writing. So basically, writing is to express the idea, and the scientists or engineers communicate in different manners. They have to write reports, they have to write research papers or articles, research proposals, or through web pages. They have in direct communication, they have to attend conferences, deliver lectures, attend meetings, and there are poster presentations also. These direct and indirect communication are for different kinds of audiences. The audience may be a specifically technical audience, that is their colleagues, a general audience, a general technical audience, and a non-technical audience. So they have to communicate with different kinds of people with different channels of communication. So basically, in science communication scenario, we have three people: the scientist, the science journalist, and their office, the institution. These three are linked with the society. They have to deliver to the society. So the way in the science communicators work, they are accountable to the society. The objectives of science communication are to inform about science, to educate about science, to lighten the path from the unknown to known, to create a debate on science, to start a conversation on science, to prepare common public to accept the change, to involve the general public into the process of science, that is to induce the scientific temper which is under the fundamental duties for every citizen of India, to encourage participatory communication for a common goal, to provide critical investigation and analysis, which is all scientific temper, and to bridge up the gap between the scientists and the non-scientists and the public. So we see that the public, there is a scientist, he can communicate through classroom, that is formal way of communication, to through public, also by sitting on a formal way, and through informal ways like personal interaction or interaction in an informal way. But there are certain disruptions in the channel of communication, and that is due to that the scientist's concept of time doesn't meet with the time deadline of a journalist. Like we see that the scientific is a well-planned study of anything, and the scientist perceives things in the way that he wants. His perception of science is different from way the end users think. There are many examples in daily life. You can see that the scientific theory has been propounded for different set of situations, but is wrongly communicated and at wrong times, and that creates confusion. And scientists' concept of accuracy is not that of a journalist. Scientists' sense of appropriate language is not the same as the journalist's sense of language. Scientists understand graphs, but journalists don't understand the scientific language. There are many examples like some days back, I came across a situation. There was a scientific report published in Nature that was an observational report. Like some people observed this is happening, some people observed that is happening. And based on those observations, they said that majority of the people observed this. So that was only an observation without any having scientific background, without any any inputting scientific knowledge, without any methods used for scientific analysis, and that was simple observational report, but the headlines was catchy, and there was a wrong communication into the public. And as far as India is concerned, just after independence, the government came up with the Scientific Policy Resolution in 1958 with a view to popularize science at a common platform and to inculcate the scientific temper among common masses. And subsequently, this was induction of scientific temper was introduced in the fundamental duties of every citizen of India. So this science communication is governed by 5 vowels. First is A for attentiveness, second is E for eagerness, third is I for interest, fourth is O for opinion forming, and the fifth is U for understanding. These vowels should be used by appropriate skills, media, activities, and dialogue in science communication. That means science communication should be attentive. It should promote eagerness into the minds of the receiver, that is the person who is reading that particular report or whatever it is. It should also build interest into the minds of the receiver about the topic that is being talked of. And it should be opinion forming, that after reading the report, after reading the article, or after watching that particular thing, the reader should be having a perfect opinion about that idea, and that opinion will lead to the complete understanding of the concept. The science communication is through various channels, and some of these channels are exhibition, live programming, through information technology, lectures, hands-on activities, field-based projects, trainings, public debates, cartoons, posters, booklets or leaflets, CD-ROMs, cultural programs, audio programs, internet, telephone, and through mass media. We will be we will be talking of these various channels of communication in the lectures to follow. And the various forms are news, newsreel, common report, documentary, science features, science magazines, drama, interview. And we will be talking about all these things in our next lecture in detail. That is why I am skipping this. I am not going into the detail, as you all have a brief idea of what these are, but we will talking in detail in these types of communications in our lectures to follow. What things should we keep in mind for effective science communication? The use of language, the coordination among the language values and knowledge. We want to communicate something, but that communication should result in a positive understanding. It should promote knowledge. It should promote positive values. The style of discussion, and that style of discussion should be in accordance with the target audience for whom we are designing that communication. For the situation, what is the situation, why are we communicating, on what occasion we are communicating, and the most effective tool that is valid for such kind of a communication. We should keep all these things in mind for effective science communication. The other thing that is required for effective science communication, like I talked, is the target audience. And that is whether we are communicating at a regional or a national or an international level, we are communicating to the government or to the industry, or we are communicating to the general public, or we are communicating it to the entire world in general. So the strategy should be like, it should provide answer to what, why, and who. And it also should concentrate when and how. For this, it should be outcome oriented. It should be based on science only. It should be target oriented. It should be a participatory approach. It should be linked with multimedia for better delivery. And for that, it should use technology. This proper use of technology will minimize the distortions in the channel of communication. And last but not the least, it should be cost effective. So the stages of this kind of communication are that first we should identify the problem. We should then go on to analyze the situation in which we are going to communicate and the actors and knowledge in this communication. We should also keep in mind the key factors and then come to a conclusion that which approach will be the best for this kind of a communication. We should also take help from the strategic groups to design this communication, and the selection of the media or the proper channel of communication is most important in this. The message to be delivered is to be designed in such a manner that it should be that the audience or the target audience should be able to analyze it easily, to be able to inculcate what has been thought of inculcating, what the receiver wants. It should be in accordance with the needs of the receiver. And lastly, it should follow the evaluation, how much effective the communication was. So we must have a SMART approach for this. SMART, where S is for specific, stands for measurable, measure of the contents of the communication. A stands for achievable, achievable in terms of the goals, in terms of opportunity and resources. R stands for relevant, whether it is relevant to the current context. And T for time oriented, whether it is in context with the current time. We can summarize what we discussed right now into 7 A's. The essentials of communications can be categorized as, summarized as audience. Audience is important, the target audience to whom we want to communicate. The action, how we will communicate. The availability of resources, the availability of the audience. Accessibility, how we can approach them. Affordability in terms of the available means of communication, in terms of the available resources or the available information. Acceptability in terms of the uh, delivery context, how much acceptable will the information be in the current form. We should design the information in such a manner that it should be maximum acceptable to the masses. And the assistance, what assistance it will provide to the masses in improving their quality of life. I end this lecture here, and in the next lecture, we will discuss about how to plan the information that is to be delivered. That is a crucial stage in communicating science. The science that is to be delivered to the target audience should be designed in such a manner that it should convey what is the writer or the communicator wants to convey, and the information should be designed in such a manner that the listener is able to analyze and apply it to the maximum possible extent. Thank you for today. Thank you. Please subscribe to the channel for more and more current lectures.